Darklings! So today I wanted to talk about something that was kind of brought up with a friend of mine, which is different types of goth bands and goth music that people may or may not like. So I'm going to kind of go off of my experience first because that's the experience I know. For example, I was first introduced to The Cure when I was 15, and at the time, I didn't like them. My stepdad gave me this CD, and all I could think is, I don't care. This is mostly instrumental and slow. That was not what I liked at the time. A few years later, I ended up really loving this album, and then loving it so much that I downloaded everything of theirs, loved everything, and almost cried when I went to their concert. This was a band that became very important to me, even initially they weren't so much. Another one is Bauhaus. So I heard Bela Lugosi's Dead when I watched The Hunger when I was 17, and I was like, cool, I don't know who that is, but I like this one song. And then I found She's in Parties and decided I liked that. And then I decided, fuck it, I'll just download everything. And I did, and I didn't like any of it with the exception of those two songs until time wore on, and like a year later, I suddenly liked all of it. It happens. This vinyl was a very good find, especially for it being $5 because one of the discs is cracked, but still plays. Another one, and this one's really important to me, is Joy Division. And I see so many people wandering around with this on their t-shirt, and I get that judgy, I don't mean to do it vibe inside, like, do you even know who that is? And I really want people to know who this band is. They're really important. I get tired whenever I hear people listening to Nine Inch Nails' cover of Dead Souls and think that they're the ones that wrote it. And Love Will Tear Us Apart is really good, and She's Lost Control is really good, and Atmosphere is really good, and every cover I've heard of it's good. But a lot of these songs are really looked over because no one seems to know who this band is, which makes me sad. No one seems to know who Warsaw is either, but they know who New Order is. Semantics. And I want more people to like this band, even though their sound's kind of austere, kind of cold, and not very approachable. I want them to be acknowledged as being a good, solid foundation within the gothic music scene. And this one, I'm always surprised when people don't like Susie and the Banshees because there's enough of a pop kind of element that they're pretty approachable sound-wise, but I know some people that just don't really like their music, with the exception of like maybe Happy House and Spellbound and Face to Face and some of the more popular stuff. But I really love all of it, including her solo stuff. And that happens where you just don't like any of it or you like all of it. And this is a band that it seems like most goths really will like, mostly because the Sisters of Mercy have enough of a pop element that you can absorb them, I guess, really easily. And definitely one of my favorite bands. I really wish that I could have the box set for First and Last and Always with my imaginary money. And despite the fact that Andrew Eldridge is a wanker, pretty much every feminine goth type I've ever met who loves the 80s stuff wants to be Patricia Morrison, and I can't blame them. Another band who is not even specifically goth, but well loved by goths, is the Smiths. And I really do like Morrissey's writing, even if I think he's kind of an ass. And I don't like Smiths fans that are either hipsters or the kind that want to fight Cure fans, because a lot of people seem to think you can only like one or the other. And I like the Cure more than the Smiths, but I do love the Smiths. And the fact that there's this dissension between the fan base is really silly. But the writing style, the melancholiness, the atmosphere, it's very distinctly 80s, and it's very much a part of the foundation of the goth scene in a lot of ways. Then moving on to kind of less popular, more fringy-ish stuff, like Alien Sex Fiend. I love this band. They're weird. They're really weird. And I have to be in the specific mood to like them because they kind of got this mechanical, industrial-ish kind of vibe to them. They're not that easy on the ears. So I have to be in the mood to listen to them, but I didn't like them when I started listening to them either. And then other bands that are slightly less popular include the Virgin Prunes, where I didn't start liking them until Baby Turns Blue got stuck in my head for like a month. It happens. Where sometimes you end up liking the band almost exclusively because a song snuck into your head unawares. It happens. And then there's other bands that are like less well known, and some of the like elder goths or people that have been in the community longer seem to find them and then judge people for not knowing them or liking them. Like, I only barely started listening to Tones on Tail and Clan of Zymox and Exmal Deutschland and all these other kind of smaller-ish bands within the dark wave, post-punk, whatever kind of vibe. And some people will never like those. Some people will never find those, or they'll know who they are and not like the sound, and that happens too. And the fact that there is this sort of dissension between, oh, this is a good band, oh, this is a bad band, oh, why do you like them, that's not goth, that's all really silly. The whole point of this video is just, as long as you know who these like main founding bands are and like accept how they've influenced goth as a style, I don't care whether or not you like them. I like a lot of music. I like ranging from the kind of sort of obscure to the really popular. It doesn't matter as long as it makes you happy and as long as you can dance to it or enjoy it or whatever, doesn't matter. So I wanted to kind of throw this out there that your music taste is valid. And if you haven't heard of some of these bands, that's okay, because I'm still playing catch up and there's a lot of bands that I'm not familiar with yet too. Anyway, till next time, Darklings.